so powerful for a composition like theirs.
Yeah, they got a lot of damage on that front line and really being aggressive. They've just completely zoned them out of that choke. And you can just see here, they're just tempted to move up, but not quite sure yet. There's a good hack. The pin comes in from Oni again, doing really well, dragging to clean up Pingu. So the shields on the front line really compromise for Lucid. They lose Windfeather there, which just, well, they lose everyone there in the end. It's a good retake there to get them the point, and they didn't even let them get any percent.
I know. And the funny thing was, Oni just charged in. They just went in. They didn't care about heals. They didn't care about, oh, maybe I might get hurt. Nah, they knew that the team was behind them and was just able to push in with all the guts and glory that you'll ever need as a big German man in a suit of armor. But yeah, they've both got shatters. Both Reinhardts have shatters. So going into this next fight will be a little bit of a, Reinhardt 1v1 of, mental strain here as they're looking at who can get the biggest shatter, but I don't think they even need to this whole fight. The Nano went on to Oni and was able to just clean up with the rest of the team behind them, and already Lucid has to tail between the legs, go back to spawn.
Wow, that anti-nade from Smexy just turned that fight instantly at the start of it. Landed it on Reinhardt, landed it on, I can't remember who else was there, but also got them well. Reinhardt had no health, they had the whole shield, they couldn't be aggressive there, so Pingu's just stuck with the shield up. Can't really push in like they want to, and it's had a bad time, really.
They did. Coming into this next fight, though, Pingu still has that shatter. He's looking to get it, and he will. That is a 3k right there. Unirift able to get a little bit of the picks that did fall. Unfortunately, though, now the return has been sufficed. Coming from Lucid here, they won't be able to get anything as the grab comes out from both sides, but the grab was just bigger on Boogaloos, especially with Cell's Torbjorn turret, who I think got like a 3 or a 4k there.
Oh, the crossed up shadow was just, that was amazing. But yeah, they just couldn't quite capitalize again. They had the ults out, but they just weren't able to find the kills afterwards, which is what's really been the hunch for them here and holding them back. You saw though, Flash had that ult in hand ready for it, so they had the defense up. Here we go. Lucid coming in now. They know they have to make it, but the Torvald pushes heavy pressure on the front line. Beat drop gets interrupted, completely shut down. Windfeather's just there to stop the overtime, but a lone BAP is not enough to take on a team, and so that will be all they need to find the objective.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Strong.
Boogaloo, you have come out very strong. Very, very strong. Yeah, Lucid, they couldn't really get a foothold past, when they entered, and his Cell with the amazing turret placements, clearly, because I don't really think the turret was dealt with very often, but there goes the Molten Core directly. Typical
Every Tor player of the game
ever. I've got like 2 of them saved just purely from dying and then getting kills.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Look, Flash even there with some good offensive assists, which shows that even the supports are getting involved in the damage. They're putting some good pressure on. And yeah, I think the main thing there was just ult use, really, from what I saw. I don't know if do you feel the same?
I do, and I think also the mix-up from having the Torbjorn, like having the close range damage, the poke at the same time of having the pew of the turret from anywhere and everywhere, especially for a comp that Lucid was playing, is excruciatingly annoying. You can see that over time, despite it only doing a little ticks by little ticks of damage a second, it really added up. And I swear, like once or every second fight, I reckon Cell had that Molten Core, especially for locking down control points as well. Torbjorn can be really good. I am surprised actually that Boogaloos was able to flip it as fast as they did before, because having that 12 is much like having Symmetra. Once you've lost the point, it can be hard for the retake. But clearly the communication of Boogaloo has been really, really strong so far. They know their pathing, they know what ultimates, and they have been tracking their ults as well, because we've also seen from Flash the beat has come out at the perfect time.
Yeah, they definitely made sure that they had something to answer to those grabs and to those shatters. We saw some awesome crossed up shatters there. That was I do want to have a look at the replay on that one. So Man, just like the precision of how much like a few millimeters can make in this game and how much it changes the fight outcome is really crazy, and especially, you know, up at this level of play where it matters most, you know? So.
Yeah, I think as well, even when Pingu got those big shatters or the grabs came out, you know, Boogaloo always had something to answer with it. And I think that was really important. Whereas it felt like whenever something happened with Lucid, they were just caught with their pants around their ankles and tripped over their shoelaces. They didn't really have much to answer back. And if they did, it didn't happen fast enough, or they were, you know, it was on cooldown or something like that. So it was a little bit harder. But now we're on Numbani, probably expecting a little bit of a difference in composition, probably a little bit more divey, as we've been seeing in the last couple of seasons. Perhaps that's changed a little bit more with the recent sort of updates that's come through the PCR. But yeah, we're still looking with Pingu on the Winston, the double bubble trouble, with, interestingly enough, almost... that classic sort of dive with the DPS of Onimaru on the Genji, and of course Unirift on the Tracer, trying to get into the backline a little bit. Yep. Whereas on the other side, they've still got the Torbjorn. still on the Torb. And why shouldn't he be, honestly?
Yeah, I mean,
they did such a fantastic job on that last map. And of course, you're on defense, so you can place the turret, and they have to come towards it. This will be so annoying when meeting Lucid's DPS.
Well, Lucid picked this map, so you better hope that this dive, which they have obviously planned for, is going to work for them. And that turret, like you say, it does just chip away, and it can be really annoying for players like squishy players especially, because it, like you say, that chip actually does end up doing a lot of damage overall. Lucid trying to figure out where they want to go here.
Yeah, they haven't really got a pathing. They're like, up or down or down. I think they're just like, yeah, what comp are Boogaloo running? Where should we be diving? I think if you were Lucid, you want to be diving onto a single target, but the problem with this comp is that everybody's kind of stuck together. That is a massive anti-nade, Stranger. He's going in. Sergeant Pingu, unfortunately, Uniriv does get caught in the back with a beautiful headshot, and the appeals have unfortunately come through on the side of Boogaloo. The dive just wasn't quite strong enough, and the damage wasn't there, and now you can just push back as Boogaloo, as that was a very successful and a very powerful defense.
Yeah, they definitely they kind of dive disjointed a little bit, didn't they? Brig was a bit left behind on the main street. That can work sometimes as long as the team is actually putting pressure from that alternate location, so that it's not just like a 3v6 somewhere, you know. So a bit of a rough start for them.
It's also going to be excruciatingly hard to dive into this comp. I mean, who do you dive here, Stranger, really? Smexy, I guess, but it's Banana. Cell, he can just press E. It's going to be really, really hard. Going to need a lot of help to just get a single kill there. Turret does get destroyed, but it's not really going to do much. The rest of the team are still up and still healthy as ever. And because of the health, Oni just falls immediately to Cell, and that's going to send them right back to spawn. The anti-nade though has come through. This is Pingu though. He's going to get a 2k just off the map here. This could turn the fight around. Now he's onto the Ana. Somehow all meow.
Wow.
Dropped. But now the nanoed Winston will just clean up, and Sergeant Pingu, take off your hat, because I think you've got a 6k.
Yeah, that was pretty great. They really did well to split them there. I thought it was going to go a bit awry at the beginning when Oni got caught out on the side, and I was like, oh, maybe that's the end of the jump, because losing a Genji early in can sometimes just decide a fight straight away. But in the end, they found the split. They got rid of those squishies early, and then that was it. They were in on it. So good job by them.
Yeah, I think that's what Pingu needed to do, and that's just get his ult, especially because of how close and where they were playing. I mean, we saw what happened because of that very position, and you were able to bat out two players there, two big players as well, especially one with McCree, who has that flash, can be ever so annoying for Pingu. Pingu just got out with about 2 HP remaining, though. The grab comes out, doesn't really get many kills. The cooldowns are now unfortunately coming in though, and because of that, Yuri and Oni have been able to just push in as hard as they need to, because the bubbles have been depleted, and Oni is just on a rampage with the rest of his team behind him, backing him up.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That was purely them just getting split in the wrong direction. You know, Callum over on the brig got separated from the team, and as soon as Oni saw that, they were all over it. It was unfortunate Yuri didn't actually get their high noon off like they wanted, but in the end, I guess it didn't matter. Pengu getting caught there alone. Oh, they're just a little
He got
disjointed here.
charged out of nowhere. That is unfortunate. The reason why he dived in was to try and save his Tracer, who was a little bit stuck, but unfortunately just didn't quite work out. And now Oni got a massive shatter onto two of them. And yeah, you can see now that Unirift is kind of just lost in the back line here with about 2 HP. Yeah, they did try and land a pulse, but missed and then got a little bit caught out. Still alive though, can still be an absolute nuisance in the back line. There's the turret gone, so that is a lot less poke, especially against the Tracer. Here comes the blade and the beat on top of that as well, so that blade won't get anything really. Now you can just push in. Is that another shatter from Oni? He's only just used it. Pingu's trying to make the most of his nano, but I don't think anything can really come upon it. Stranger, that was
How?
Already shatter into the backline with 3k.
You just can't let that happen. They had them in the grab. I thought, okay, they've actually messed us up. Only got the pin, which didn't actually really do a whole lot other than get the 1 kill. But then the nano boost comes through, the shadow drops. They had all the power they needed, and just again, no answer at all. So they just get taken out. Lucid need to make sure that they've got some backup plans in hand.
Yeah, no, sorry, yes, they do. I'm sorry, didn't have you stared away into another world. They don't really have many ults as well, unfortunately, with Lucid. So you're just kind of hoping and praying it's a long fight to try and get Pingu's, Pingu's shatter. Windfeather caught up above, somehow does take out Yuri though. But
nice.
The bigger pick here was Sergeant Pingu getting poked away from all sides and eventually falling to cell. And you can see immediately Lucid backing out because you cannot push forward without your main tank. But,
really
there was enough poke for a couple of ultimates to come online, but they have completely switched up their DPS line now, Stranger. They've now got double hit scans. They've got possibly more pressure onto Cell and more pressure onto Oni, whose shield has been mostly full the entire time. That is a massive shatter! The one time Pingu dropped his shield, Oni took extreme advantage over it with Yuri in your backline, name of the podcast, as well. Being as annoying as ever.
Did they get this emote as well? Like they were last man standing. I think they did.
Probably knew that it was over. Yeah, look, Pika, talking about him, he does have ult. You've got to try catch out at least a couple of members, and by that I mean 3. They don't. Flash though, unfortunately, he does have beat. You know what he's going to be using that for. Flash has just been an absolute beast at just getting his ult and beat so much faster. Beats come out from both sides, especially window and immortality field. Nobody has fallen despite the massive amount of damage. Unfortunately, Sergeant Pingu is the first to fall, and that will dispel defeat immediately for Lucid here. You cannot be losing your your players that quickly.
Oh. And Bob just cleans up everything a minute too late. Jeez, they had pretty much a mirror there. They had both sitting in grab a meter away from each other, but just I don't know. Boogaloo must have just had the better damage output, and they just won out the fight. I do find Pengu's getting so focused down on that shield that Boogaloo, they're making sure that thing's gone, and that's really opening up like the shadow potential and even more than just that. But you know what I mean? The defensive potential for Lucid right now is just getting really shut down quickly, which I'm sure that they're not having a fun time with it. Pengu's probably raging.
Knowing Pingu, yes. So the Pingu's playstyle is aggro, and that's about it. Aggro full stop. It's like, should we press W? And his answer, how long should we press W for? And his answer would just be yes. It's like, yeah, especially on attack, you could see Pingu was just itching and scratching to just always press the W button. And unfortunately, it just doesn't quite work like that, especially when you have that annoying Torbjorn just poking you away, or you have Yuri on the. I know he wasn't on the Genji the whole time, but
McCree as well.
Yeah, exactly. You've got that McCree on the high ground. You've got to deal with, those people at the very least, or you have to be I suppose it felt like they weren't. I want to say even more aggressive, but when they tried that, it felt like Pingu just stretched away a little bit too far from the rest of the team, and because of that, even if Pingu wasn't the first to fall, his backline certainly were. Whereas Boogaloos spend a much better time at like sticking together. They have a bit more of a game plan, and they know how to do it. But now here comes the defense from the attack from Boogaloos here as they immediately come out here. Pika though on the hog, which is interesting enough. He wants to get those hooks. Unfortunately, the first one has been missed, and Sergeant Pingu falls.
Oh, that's not good. You don't want to lose that. Lose a healer as well. Again, they've split them out. This is Boogaloo's way. They just find a couple of picks and then look at the pressure they've got now. They just walk on this point. Sal gets hooked, but the bubble comes out. They just get obliterated. I've never seen a Hog's health bar deplete that quickly before in my career. Jeez. And look at this. Already, without even the point being capped, they're aggressive on this front line. Yuri's looking for something on a squishy if possible.
Yeah, Yuri's pushed forward, basically just trying to get Blade, which will be the win condition with Smexy Bacon's Nano, and because of that, they win really, because strangely they don't have any sort of defensive ult. I mean, unless you can count on Windfeather. Windfeather, they have to get a enormous sleep onto this game to shut down anything that can happen. But we can see that, you know, Sergeant Pingu only has one shield that only can just push past, especially when looking for a shadow like this one. I don't think he caught anybody though. No. Never mind that, but somebody has fallen, and you can see Oni just charging away Sergeant Pingu, but he managed to stay alive, and perhaps that was a little bit too aggro, but they have still been able to push the cart a little bit, and now it's into one fight territory. Yes, they will not win this fight, Boogaloos, but look at the ults that they are coming across, especially with Sergeant Pingu. I mean, do they really need that ultimate there? Possibly not. They're already on the retreat, losing their main tank.
Yeah, that was, they still got so much ground amongst that chaotic fight that you just kind of feel like even though they got killed and pushed back, they still won that fight really. Like, look how much space they need. Just one push now, like you say. That's one ult fight and they're in, especially with a Nano Blade, which seems to be right ready to go.
That's the thing I'm worried about. You know, Dragon Slayer as well with the grab. This could just spell curtains, especially for someone like Pika, who might be able to do a little something with his hooks. But here comes the Nano Blade. This is going to be huge. Immediately takes out Windfeather, looking for one more. Can't really find many though. But the rest of his team has been able to push forward, and it's really only 2 or 3 members left here. The grab is basically a celebratory grab. Doesn't catch anybody at this rate. Pika was the last to fall there, and I think if you just get 3 or 4 on carts, immediately going to spell curtains for anything Lucid can really do. There is a little bit of a congestion there, but Cool Mao and Windfeather fall, and we're looking at quite a sweep at the moment.
I mean, very, very solid push. Even in losing fights, they gained ground. In the end, they knew what they wanted. They won the ult battle, like you're saying. They had all the tools in the belt, you know, Grav, Blade, Nanos. But, ironically, Yuri actually didn't end up really very optimally using that blade, but it didn't matter because the rest of the team just kind of smashed through anyway. And then, like, the Grav wasn't used. It was used to just kill Doomfist for like, fun. Like you said, celebratory. Yeah, so they just, even with the ults like saved up, they didn't even end up needing them to really, which just shows that they're really strong. Look, isn't Boogaloos the underdog in this situation here as well? They're coming up. Coming
from a lower div, but it just seems like they've trained a little bit harder. I do know that because I know Pika and Pingu, that their team, you know, their comms, apparently, allegedly, this is all alleged, it's not quite what you'd expect. It's more like just conversational of what's happening in front of them, not so much about what Boogaloo could be doing. And trained is, you know, what ults do they have? What are we going to use next fight? This is all alleged. This could change because it is a tournament match. But it seems like it could be the way that the match is playing out at the moment. You you know, we've seen Boogaloo that they have ultimates ready to go for whatever happens. And you know, they just, like you said, that last bit there, I mean, they just threw out the grab. They threw out, you know, the shatter. They really only needed the nano blade that immediately took down the Ana. Didn't really even have to get many more kills than that, because you just saw Oni's aggression was so much. Well, it wasn't so much more than Pingu's. I guess it was he sort of fed, but with a little bit more elegance.
Right. Yeah, I think I agree. Man, okay, well, Lucid, they're going to have to mix it up a little bit here. So I guess they've picked in here, so they wanted Anubis here, from the looks of things.
Yeah, they would want Anubis, I suppose. Maybe that, you know, the Junkrat's really powerful. I know Oni loves to... She does love to, I don't know, chuck out pretty much very wide hero pool. I do know that. Very good at Widow. Very good at Genji as well. When I first met her, we've been on a team together. And yeah, very good player, but I think perhaps the communication's lacking a little bit. I know these players are very highly skilled. They've all touched, you know, at least mid to high diamond, if not masters, at some point. In fact, they're so anything like that is just huge, right? So
that's it.
Yeah, I think mechanics alone at this high of a div can't get you far, which we're seeing with Boogaloos, who've come up quite a number of divs for this season and are really proving themselves so far.
All right, well, let's hope Anubis flips this up for Lucid here, and they can get themselves on the table. I know they'll want, you know, at least one. Also noticed, pause. I noticed that Sal actually mixed up off the Torbjorn at the end there as well. They decided to play McCree for a minute, which was a bit blasphemic.
Another pokey character, of course. Sal loves to just be absolute nuisance of whatever character they seem to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, excuse me. So yeah, running into Temple of Anubis, I don't see much of a change or a need to change if you were Boogaloos here. Whereas if you're Lucid, yeah, that we have seen a couple of comps run from them. You know, we've seen the poke of the Sigma and the Hog. We've seen the brawl side of things, and we've also seen the double bubble trouble, but neither one has been not to say that any of them are bad, but I'd say neither of the one has been tried effectively, I'd say, because they still all can work at this level of the game. But we're seeing here a different... I mean, look, it's attack. Let's not go into their contest yet. But on the defense, of course, would it be Boogaloos at this point to not have the cell on the Torbjorn?
Yeah, well, look, Yuri's just locking in Widowmaker as well, so we might get some Widow on Widow action, which would be a nice little change of pace. Nope, they just teased me. Of course, Yuri doing the classic maneuver, but we do have Onimaru on that Widow, like you mentioned before in the short break there, that hit scan, so maybe they can just be the braking power to get in, especially with like Widow Doom. You're kind of one shot potential on both of them, right? So it could be an instant where the fight's just shifted. So let's see if they can break through and do something with that.
Yeah, I suppose like Pika's ball here, you want to get into their backline, disrupt as many players as possible, and basically into the waiting arms of a Sergeant Pingu. Whereas if you're on the side of course, Boogaloos, you kind of want to, it's kind of like a half poke, half brawly style. You don't want to immediately engage because you want to give time for the Torbjorn to collect those kills. That was a very low Onimaru falling Sergeant Pingu though. This is a massive engagement. I was not expecting this, and I don't think neither was Lucid. They just pushed in with a little bit of an anti-tried from Windfeather, but tried was a little bit too late, unfortunately, there. And the aggression that we saw has been unmatched so far from Lucid Stranger.
Yeah, that again, Smexy comes in with the anti-nade to start everything off, to make sure that the team starts on the right foot for the fight, which has been a really deciding factor for a lot of these battles, I would say. Like right there, before Pingu got hit with the nade, and then that was it. There's nothing they could do, even with backing out. It was just a lot to deal with. Here we go, then pushing from the side this time. Lucid trying to break through. They do find... Oh, they lose, sorry. their Lucio there, which is not great. Smexy gets taken out by Doom in the backline, but it doesn't matter because the rest of the team pushes in aggressively. Dragon Slayer to find one, Yuri seals another as well, and the rest of the team are split out. Pika looking to roll around somewhere away from there. Does take out Cell. That's a good spawn kill, I guess. But they need to be quick back into it.
Exactly. They need to be fast. They do kind of have spawn advantage, but not really. It's basically 50-50 with the slightest advantage to attackers, especially with that Lucio pick. You just want to go straight to this point, which Sergeant Pingu definitely has. Hopefully Windfeather can keep this man up though. There's a massive anti-nade followed by a Nano that will spell curtains for Oni, but in the backline, Salah's actually managed to get a pick onto Uniriv. Now here comes the answering blade. That's one. Sergeant Pingu though is able to shut down a couple of members. And I think that despite the couple of picks that fell towards Boogaloos, finally Lucid have broken the back.
Oh, there we go. Oh, Pengu coming in strong there, hard out, on the point early to make sure they had that presence. They did have Doomfist getting rid of the Lucio early in there to get rid of that support, but it was the Shadow that took 3, even with the nanoed blade in the background. Pengu didn't care. He was taking out the ones that they wanted right where they were. Beautiful play by them.
Yeah, indeed. And now you can see that you'd want to aggress as fast as possible. You know the snowball potential on any 2CP map. The problem is that it's a little bit more pokey for Boogaloos, so you have to be much more careful. You can see, look how cheeky that turret placement is though. Yuri as well, picking off a couple of members to make that 3, not just a couple, make that 4. This man, you've got to deal with him here. You can't just ignore Yuri.
Already halfway to another ult as well. I mean, they're kind of sitting nicely timed with Smexy. They've got beat here as well to come into this next fight, so maybe they can make good use of that somewhere. I mean, that was a bit rough with Pengu. They pushed kind of past the point of no return, and then there was that cheeky turret. The rest of the team weren't quite ready for that commitment. Yuri shutting down Onimaru with the trade. They did take out Smexy, so there's a healing reduction, but with the spawn advantage here, they know they need to go in with the full team. They do pick out Yuri here. This could be all right. Pengu wants to go in. They're looking to W on it. There's the Doom to drop in as well. Beat drops the Shatter, only getting Pengu there, but the grab will hold them in. Molten Core all over it, but Pengu just eats through most of it. Finally to fall there. They had to commit a lot of ults to hold that battle.
A lot of ults. That was 4 ults from Boogaloo to hold point B, but it was worth it because on the other side they did use double support ult for Lucid, as well as Unirift, who has switched to that McCree, possibly trying to shut down Yuri, who has got the blade, and Smexy, of course, with that nano. So that they do have a win condition as Fight Stranger, so it's definitely not a complete loss. But Sergeant Pingu, he's the man you want to look out for now. He's got that Shadow who can just instantly shut down any form of contention. But here comes Yuri with the massive nano. That's all you need. Yuri. That's well played, sir. What else can I say with that? That was a 4K blade there instantly, and now 2 minutes remaining, which is about 4 fights, which is definitely doable for Lucid, as they are coming up to a couple more ultimates, especially with Onimaru and Sergeant Pingu.
Yeah, what a blade. I mean, very clean. Right in next to Pengu to start with as well, so they were able to like dash out and space themselves well. Really, really clever. Smexy managing to get the nano on as well was very tight angle, so good on them. Oh, Pengu drops the Shadow, but it's blocked out completely. Doesn't stop them from getting onto the objective. Nano boost onto them as well. Hit the pin to combine. Oni gets hit with another stun to follow, but still stands. Finally goes down. They are on this objective now. Cell sitting at a cheeky angle, hits E to just walk a little bit further, but won't last any longer than that. They gotta get rid of Flash, who's just stalling well. Yuri to jump back on now too, but they still got so much presence on the point. Lucid looking strong. Dragons across the lane, but the anti-nade is on Reinhardt, which will put a lot of pressure on Pengu. Gets caught out alone, 3v1 to get taken out. That's not good. They've lost the shield. It's looking like advantage, slowly slipping back into Boogaloo's hand. Another freaking nano boost on this Genji will absolutely smash it. Doesn't even end up needing it.
Need it.
Oh, wow, what a hold.
That fight in the end turned down to what Anna's nade was more impactful. At the beginning, 100% win feathers, but towards the end, Smexy got a beautiful anti onto half the team of Lucid, and that spelled curtains for any further engagement there. They do have 30 seconds remaining. They don't have too many ults, and crucially, they don't have Call Meow beat right now, and that's what they need, especially coming into Dragon Slayer's grab combined possibly with Yuri's blade here. As they again, they've come onto the left side. That's a Shatterbit meeting Deaf ears right now as the blade has come through. That's 2 kills, that's 3. He's just been able to dash through. Yuri's done a fantastic job this match, completely shutting down Lucid's last fight. And yeah, credit where credit's due. Dragon Slayer, fantastic grab there, especially after Pingu's unfortunate early demise.
Yeah, man, that shatter block was rough. I did feel a bit bad for him on that one, but yeah, jeez, well done. Well done by them. Good hold. They did get them all the way up to like the last tick. I thought that maybe they might be able to sneak it out there in that previous fight, but like you say, those anti-nades really just kind of made the diff. So, man, great Overwatch we got going on here, though.
Oh, yes. So I think finally Lucid have started to wake up a little bit. Their comms have been slightly better. Pingu's not feeding quite as hard as he was the last couple of games. Their position as well from Lucid has been a lot better, I'd say. They aren't just getting steamrolled as hard and fast as they were last time. It did take them a little while to try and get onto point B, but you know, it's Temple of Anubis. Temple of Anubis is bloomin' hard to capture. Now we've switched it up, and of course we've got the Boogaloos on the attack. Cell, look, I don't know if Torbjorn on attack will work out, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. On the other side, we've got Onimaru on that Junkrat, just like I predicted. I mean, Junkrat on Temple of Anubis goes as well together as Peanut Butter and Sultanas. Sergeant Pingu Sergeant Pingu though is on the Sigma, whereas Pika's on the Reinhardt. I know Pika's Reinhardt is. You thought Pingu fed on the Reinhardt. Well, healing that man is so tough. But perhaps, you know, tournament has straightened him out, and Unirip, that they should just push here, Stranger.
Yeah, Sal does end up getting the trade out though. Sergeant Pingu following up. They take out Yuri, so the pressure on the damage side reduced. See if they can get a couple clean on the way out. There it is, beautiful. Like I said, the Junkrat really having a lot of value, and those corridors are just perfect for it.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this comp that we've seen from Lucid here. We got Windfeather on the Zen for the Discord orbs. I mean, if you thought Junkrat's nades didn't do enough, well, introduce a Discord orb and it's basically a one-shot curtains. And I mean, what would a Doomfist be without a Discord for that pretty much instant kill? But that's an instant kill in and of itself, with Oni taking out Uni pretty much instantly with a cheeky little charge there. Yuri caught a little bit out of because of that, gets punished instantly by double Junkrat mine.
Oh, need to drop onto the point where the charge doesn't quite land, but Pika couldn't return it. Dragon Slayer, on the other hand, able to find the pickup, but there's that Zen damage coming into play with the double, takes out both the tanks. Is Zen a healer or what, huh? Sal's turret, though, trades them out. Wow, what a position to get it in on an attacking push as well.
That is so annoying, especially if you're Windfeather, because you can only float so fast back to point, whereas, you know, Flash is on the Lucio for a reason, and that reason is for aggression. So the Windfeather's going to be late, and of course that would mean Lucid will be a couple of members down, but this is very cheeky spawn camping from Yuri here. This will be so annoying for Windfeather.
Oh,
Never
wow,
mind that. Somehow killed Oni instead.
Jumped up onto the high ground to just keep the pressure off. Good shatter here from Oni. Tranquility lands, but enough to save the Reinhardt. Wynn's not going to be happy about that. Oni puts pressure on the point there. Dragon Slayer's ult will definitely hold them back. Sal just drops the lava all over just in case. Not even really needed in the end, as they will find this first point.
Yeah, that was an unlucky trance from Windfeather, as you know, trance came out, but sorry, it's not Sergeant Pingu, it was Pika in this case, was antied. And because of that anti, you know, obviously no healing can come through with the Transcendence, and no Zari to cleanse it either. So yeah, Pika was not long for this world, and after that, yeah, it was 3v6 curtains. Cell is doing an incredible job attacking on Torbjorn. I don't know what this man is made out of, but it's clearly a lot of Swedish meatballs. They are calling for a little bit of a pause, and a pause we shall get here. Stranger, they have Smexy and Yuri. Blade Nano Blade, of course. That's
Blade
the
Nano,
way you
that's
say
it.
it. Blade Nano Blade, meat, potatoes, and cheese and jam.
Would you say went with peanut butter before?
Okay, peanut butter and sultanas.
I don't know if I want to try that or if I just am repulsed by it.
Okay, you can't hate till you try it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Everyone's got peanut butter in their house, all right? I want you to guys to in chat try it out, tweet at me, and say if you've tried out that peanut butter and sultana. I know it sounds disgusting, but have it with that cliched white bread you get from like Brumbies or whatever. And it will be a great experience.
Oh,
A better
man.
experience, in my opinion, though, all right, is you get one of those wraps and you fry it. It's sort of lightly fried in oil. I can't remember what they're called. I can't remember what they're called. It's Indian. It's like an Indian cuisine thing. Anyway, and you cover
A
it
roti?
with jam. Yeah, I think it's a roti. You cover it with jam, cover it with cheese, wrap it up, and you eat it with the melted cheese and jam on a roti. It is so good. I'm probably not selling it to anyone right now, but again, if you try any of these pap combos, I would love to hear from you guys. I'm going
Keep
to
in
change your
mind
life.
that Pap has a cooking stream, guys. So you
Keep an
can,
eye out
if
for
you want to
that.
see him cooking these weird ass things, then make sure you go to his Twitch.
No, I do. I cook things that are edible. Not to say those aren't.
Oh,
but
right.
I cook things that like sausage rolls, and I've cooked like mains and stuff like that, which are absolutely delicious. That everybody can indulge in and not just be like, oh, I might like this, I might not, or I might throw up, or I might not.
Jeez.
Well, there's the Uni Rift DC.
Yeah, there's
That's
the DC.
reason.
So we'll give it a minute. Look, Smexy has got the nano. Like you say, Blade is literally 99%, so that's about to come back on. But on the other hand, we have Tyre, we have Shatter, and Sigma's ult as well. So look, there's a couple of options there for shutting down that potential too, if they're smart about their ult use. What would you recommend, do you think?
Tyre.
Yeah.
Tyre. Sorry. Abby made Tyre. Okay. Yeah, Tyre. 100% Tyre. You would go for that Onimaru Tyre just to shut down, even if it was a solo ult the Genji. We've seen just how good Yuri is on the as soon as they get nano, they immediately shut down Windfeather, because Windfeather does not have trance and is nowhere near Transcendence either. And Immortality Field, while it's good, now that it's only got, I think it's 150 HP, can be taken down in basically one swing. So that's not really going to work. They do have the big ults though. Flux is doable, but it's very hard because of how fast you have to react. Because you kill one person and the Genji's somewhere else. So unless you're, really fast at pulling it out. Another one would be obviously Pika. Again, it's very hard to land a shadow when your Genji's flying everywhere. So I think the best course of action is for Oni to stay safe, even if it's in spawn, and tire immediately as soon as you hear even just the nano. You got to be extremely reactive in this circumstance, and that should shut it down. The only thing that could shut down this possible tire, which would be like five head brain play, would be if Flash was to then beat. But then then you can even bring in the Pika, Shatter, or the Sergeant Pingu Flux on top of that, and then it's all about countering ults. But if you're, I reckon Lucid, if they can do something like that, they can definitely pull this back.
Yeah, I think that they still have a good chance here to be in the hold position. So 4 minutes, you can actually burn on through it. They got to be careful of Dragon Slayer's Zarya ults, because those have been some of the bigger undoings of their teams in terms of the fights. Like even at the end of the last round there, that was kind of the reason that it all went to Custard. So they got to make sure that they're kind of tracking that almost and being smart about their positioning with it.
Yeah, Dragon Slayer's just used it, so that won't be available for probably another 2 fights unless Oni can get really deep really quickly, which perfectly possible. We know how aggressive Oni can be. As we're losing the pause, but I'm not sure if our producer's back. Could not be. Cell left the game. We've got the next DC, which probably came at a good time.
Yeah.
But don't worry, our producer's back. Anyway, I was a little worried, but we're good.
This is pretty nice and scuffed, just like we like it. Yeah.
The OCE special, right? You don't get this anywhere
Australian
else.
internet just isn't what it used to be, So.
It's really not.
Oh well, Sal's clicked back into it. How you doing there, son?
I'm doing well, Dad. A long time no see, man. You finally came back from the news agency, I see.
Yeah. I had to take a little bit of a long way around. How's your mother?
Dad, we live a block away.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, tell her I said hi.
Dad, we live a block
away. I'll probably just head out now if that's okay with
Mom. You have no idea what you've done to my mother, not our mother. That would be a little bit weird, champ.
Yeah,
our mother has suffered because of you. My brother's only 2 and you left for the news agency.
Okay, anyway.
And not as much as Cell has moved on from this game. We have not seen him return just yet, but Uni-Rift has returned onto the Reaper, interestingly enough, possibly when the Oni pushes in. The segue Pat, I have in my back pocket right now has been spectacular. I think we're back.
I think most of the
Reaper, the only reason you'd really want Reaper would be 1 to get back to point quickly, with the Wraith, and 2 to meet with Oni when these dudes start pushing in hard. But the good thing is that there was DC on both sides, so that's both DPS now back to 0%. Rift has gone back to the McCree, so it's now McCree versus McCree, which I do agree with, because that will buy at least 1 second of time. I can't remember how long Flash is when Yuri does eventually go in. So they definitely have the means to meet Yuri's Dragon Blade. I just I just don't know how they're gonna go about it. I just hope that they go about it the way that Lord Jeff intended, and that would be for the tile.
Yep, I have to agree. I think you're right. This is good positioning here from Boogaloos. So the blade to come in from the mid lane, stun hits, as you said. But there it is. Sigma stalls out most of it, and there's the ult halted. Shatter drops for both, neither really having much effect. They incline into each other and completely stun off, but there's no pick to be found. Yuri actually hitting Windfeather into the back there, just kind of being left behind in the back line. Up name of the podcast, and ends up finding the picks. Uni-Rift actually does get the trade out. Cowboy on Cowboy, they were the faster to draw, but they've lost a lot of numbers here. The Spawns is the only saving grace. Oni's trying to hold that front line. They are able to pick up 1, but not before they're quickly traded out. Dragon drops the grab, but dies. It's burnt. Down it goes. And now it's just a few squishies.
Right now, stranger. Some Portal combat indeed. Windfeather picking up 3k alone there. And that will spell curtains. Very well played from Windfeather there, coming out with Transcendence, keeping this team alive. I don't know what happened there. Uni-Rift falling to a random fire strike coming down the mid lane.
That was very cheeky.
I think it was deflected by the Genji, actually, so I think technically Pika killed Uni-Rift.
No, I think he just caught him on a most random angle and just predicted it. Here we go. They're in for another push again. Oni always aggressive on their front line. The pressure straight onto Pika as usual. The anti-nade's on. Through the shield goes the hammer to find the pickup. No, it's Dragon, sorry, that finds it. Onto the third they go. And support, get down. Beautiful. Smexy drops, but it doesn't matter. They found the picks. Little beat drop here to make sure they have the sustain, and that's going to get them a tick. On to the second. Is this team going to get back in time? It's going to be rough. They roll on at the last moment, but here comes a blade out again from Yuri. Finds Cullum. Down they fall. They do find one onto Flash, though. Are they able to push them back? Wow, they've actually gotten rid of them.
Pika did a fantastic job at getting back to point and displacing enough for Pingu to come out with his ult. Because of course when you Sigma, hilariously, you can actually see a C9 when you Sigma ult because you fly too high. But yeah, Pika was able to stay on point, be an absolute nuisance and get a couple of picks, as well as Pingu of course picking up Yuri, which has probably been quite a big upset, especially against Lucid. And now now we've got 50 seconds remaining. This is the last fight territory here, and they only need, not even, of course, a tick, but only about, just over half of it. Wind Feather, though, they do have Transcendence, and this will be enormous to, turn the fight back into their favor, and they will need as Unirift turns down, especially with this grab coming into play here, Stranger.
Beautifully positioned right there, but look, they didn't quite capitalize on enough, I don't think. They found the kills here. Lucid's all over this point, and it's just Smexy and Flash trying to put the pressure in. Dragon Slayer's going to get left behind, and I think they're picked out. That is going to be them gone, and that's bad in the last 20 seconds. They're going to be really, trickling on here to try and get this on.
Yeah, you've got Flash, possibly, to touch. You've also got Oni as well. But other than that, you just got to pray and hope that they survive. And that will not be a survival situation right there from Oni, who immediately falls. I've never seen a Bull's HP fall so quickly.
Yeah, the Molten Core on the point puts the pressure on. Minefield, though, does sneak out Cell there, which means that it's really down to Yuri to find the picks here if they can. Wow, that actually did end up going in their favor there. The mine's still around. They got the pressure on the point here. They are finding it. The last second drop of the B here. Can they stall it? Only Maru's trying to just stay around on the point, but they couldn't keep on.
What a last touch. GG's.
Wow, that's it. Boogaloo's, they just take it out. 3-0.
I was not expecting that. Lucid looked so strong coming into that last engagement there, especially with, only falling in, 0.5 of a second? Here we go. Here's that blade that we saw there. It was an enormous, of course, nano, but followed by some great skill that we're seeing on the Genji. Unlike Pap to Plat series, where I try and get to Plat on the Genji, but it's not quite working out for me. Yeah, we're seeing some clear display of skill, especially when it comes to the Genji, but also just an all-round team thing here, Stranger. I think you'd agree with me here, but Boogaloos from the first map all the way to the last, they seem to have great composure.
They sure did. They definitely, I would say, more often than Lucid could. They kind of made those ults really efficient, and they had good economy. They were combining ults more frequently as well, which definitely helped them out a lot in those team fights. So, yeah, really impressive performance for a team coming up from a division below. They have definitely proved themselves that they belong up in this next tier. So, really well done by them. Who would you say would be your kind of star player for today, for that one there?
It was so back and forward for me, honestly. If you were to ask me after about map 1 or 2, I would say, sorry, come on, yeah, I would definitely say Oni, because of just the pure skill and aggression. But the why I say skill is because of knowing when to be aggressive and knowing when to fall back. I think was really crucial. But towards the end, I really felt like the DPS sort of came alive. And yes, of course, Oni still did a great job, but it didn't feel like it was up to him all the time to really come out. And we saw, Cell, he existed. He was great on the, he was great on Torbjorn, but Torbjorn, I'm sorry, bias Pap right here, but I would have to give it to Yuri.
To Yuri on the Genji, all right. Yeah, I think Yuri's a good contender. I think for me, my choice would probably end up being Smexy Bacon on that Ana, because those Ana nades really flipped a lot of battles, or they kind of set in the path some of the those team fights. So I think for them, they came in pretty clutch in some moments, and that'd probably be my pick.
Yeah, well, there you go. And I think with that, we'll take a small break. But when we come back, we will be with Ace Jokers versus KE Derf Division 8 match. We'll see you then. Make sure to fill up those water bottles and stay hydrated.
Never stop dreaming. 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 Never stop Never stop Never stop dreaming. Never stop dreaming.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to AAOL. It's of course season 12, stage 2, first week. We've just seen a great match between our lovely team Lucid and team Boogaloos, and now we're moving on to a Div H match between Ace Jokers and Koala Esports Derf. How's it, Pat?
G'day, g'day. Hopefully everybody had their little hydration break, and we are back. Yes, of course, with that Div 8 teams. Let's run through them. We've got Ace Jokers first and foremost. We've got on the tanks, we've got Loose Goose and Doggo. With your with your DPS, you've got Sweat and Squelch, and finally keeping everybody alive on this team, we've got Eggs with Legs and Thick Nick. I love most of these names. They're fantastic.
Yeah,
anyway,
names.
Let's give. What do you look out for when watching this game? Well, we should look out for Sweat, kind of cracked sometimes, which is what I am whenever I put down me. I was like, yeah, Pap, inconsistently consistent. And Loose Goose can be a loose goose, so watch out for their Lucy plays as they be goosey. A little bit of info about them. The org recently went through a bit of a rebrand, as we all know. They were Throw Daddy Esports. So we gave each of them a cool new name. We have one of the oldest players in AAOL at a ripe old age of 34. That's Loose Goose. Ace Jokers and KE Derf have become one team at a point in time for a single match, becoming KE Derf having a good time. I love that. We did not win that match. Damn it. Got so hyped up and then already.
Nice.
The last original member of Ace Jokers is Eggs with Legs, who has been in the team since its conception back in late 2019. So that's 2 years ago, Stranger.
That's pretty good.
They've been around for a while, that's for sure. They'll know exactly how to play with Yeah, in any sort of comp, and especially because they've been playing for so long, being able to keep up with all the changes, nerfs, buffs, etc., etc. I know a couple of these players also been playing for a while, but just hopped on different teams um, throughout their throughout being a player. Sorry, but yet, but their opponents, Derf, who I have cast these two. I'm pretty sure playing each other, and it was an absolute bonkers time. It was great fun. But yeah, Stranger, what have we got to look forward to on KE Derf?
Yeah, we got Trap Queen over there as main tank, Shadow there on the off tank, S-Doggerman, fantastic on that projectile play, of course. Bees there as a main support. How we gonna say it? Xiantra on the aim support. No Hit Sherlock as their flexible sub, and Vorbis is also their main tank sub. So we'll probably see No Hit, I'm guessing, then on tonight. Yeah, KE Derf, so Quality Sports, their S-Dogger is their like manager, captain, kind of. I've seen them play a couple of times now, pretty solid. A bit of information on them is that they formed as a free agent team, so 3 seasons-ish now that they've been in that form, and it's still half the same roster as it was back then. So half male, half female team, and only one of them is straight. Interesting. There's more than 10 years age difference between our oldest and youngest player. That's pretty cool. And in a previous Quality Sports tourney, Xiantra was misspelled as and miscalled, sorry, as Dyson Tree. Okay.
All right. I wonder who that
Was that you, Pap? That sounds like you.
sounds like a me play, but I don't think I would have called anyone dysentery.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Desintra? I don't think I would have called the tree at the end of it though. Dysentery.
It does sound like a Pat move, I think.
It does sound like a very Pap kind of move, I must admit. Oh my
both of the teams here have come up from Division 10 from the previous stage. They're now in Div 8, of course. Ace Jokers, or what was used to be Mums, was 2-3. They'd won 2 games, lost 3 of them, so they were kind of around the middle of the sector, whereas Derf had a bit of a rougher time and didn't win any of them, so they're going to be looking like they want to push themselves in this one, and they'll be looking to try and take that.
Yeah, I've played, I know a couple of these players. They can play quite well. Definitely, they can certainly pop off. I'm pretty sure, actually, I cast one of Derf's games with Abby, in fact, not too long ago. And it was a ton of fun to play, especially with some of the DPS really came out into, like, they were able to get a lot of picks and turn fights around when you least expected it. But I know that Ace Jokers, fantastic team. They can play. They've played together for a while now, with only a couple of roster changes here and there, but they're going into this match quite strong. I'll be excited to see what sort of picks they choose as well. Hopefully they won't be the Mesa slaves that we're seeing in the higher divs.
Yeah, for sure. Look, with Div 8, they might get a little bit more messy with us, and we'll get to see something a little crazy. Do you think we'll get another Torbjorn tonight?
Surely they pull out the Bastion Torbjorn poke.
Okay.
How about Arissa Sigma Bat Mercy Bastion Torbjorn on defense?
Oh jeez, that's just.
Gosh. How do you even answer that? I mean, actually, you'd swap out the Mercy for probably a Zen, then you could have Discords and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Transcendence, also to protect your team if they ever even get close to your Bastion whatsoever.
The thing is, like you say, those comps are so random that people really aren't ready. Like, they just don't know how to deal with them, so they sometimes work, which is kind of crazy. Anyway,
even in the higher elos, it's like, I mean, we saw with Cell recently on Boogaloos how great a Torbjorn can be, especially when they're caught with 2 left feet. So
true.
Yeah, we're onto Nepal's Shrine here. What we saw from last time was quite brawly. So I'd expect the same here. I mean, Brawl, out of the 3 sort of main comps you can play of Poke, Brawl and Dive. Brawl's definitely the easiest communication-wise, and
Yeah.
we can see here both teams running that Ryan Zarya. Interesting that Sweat is going onto the Symmetra, possibly just to tally out a spawn, and then immediately switching onto the Tracer. We've seen that quite a lot here. S-Dogger Man on that Pharah with Bees with the coming with the pocket here. Dr. Forth as well, getting those hacks, so it would be crucial for shutting down something like Loose Goose and possibly even Gat, honestly, on the as they're flying around.
Yeah, true. Well, we already get some early aggression from S-Dogger into that high ground, that they do have that poke potential with the rockets. They'll be looking for those hacks where they can find them. Dogger with a good start there, shutting down on Lucio, gets rid of a lot of sustain, so there it is. Trap Queen onto the point to start getting aggressive with that shield. Does get pinned though, and Gat capitalizes on the shield disruption, quickly displacing Trap Queen out of the fight. Now it's looking a little more even, but S-Dogger's trying to bring it back into their favor. Takes out Gat with a well-placed shot. Sweat trading again. Very even battle here, but look, with being on the point, of course, Jokers will have that slight advantage, and look, they're really trying to poke on, but a good anti-nade just puts Trap Queen at a bad position, forces them back out here, so the poke will continue.
It will continue indeed, and especially with, Loose Goose has the shatter pretty much. Trap Queen is falling a little bit behind. There's a massive anti, will have to be cleansed by a bubble and charged immediately. Trap Queen is no use to this world anymore. Nano also falling onto the Reinhardt here, able to push up with Cameltastic. Lucy's speed boost.
Yeah, good. What went wrong there?
Look, I think it was an unfortunate drop from Trap Queen's shield, and Trap Queen also pushed up, and it felt like the team weren't quite with them, and because of that, you got the sleep, you got the anti-nade, and then the Lucio speed boost directly on top. There's not much you can really do about that. Doggo has got the has got ult as well, which will be huge, especially coming into the next fight. But never mind that. S-Dogger Man into the backline doesn't really, at the name of the podcast, doesn't really take out many people.
Yeah, it cleans up nice. Gets traded out of the ultimate there, of course. Sherlock coming in with some damage, but is going to be focused down, and that means that Trap Queen's going to have to be the one to try and pick up Doggo here. He's just got that bubble just so well timed to just keep the sustain. S-Dogger's still pumping rockets through. Great anti-nade comes on through to just shut down Sweat. And now Goose is looking rough. Sleep dart onto them, puts them down on the floor for a moment, which means their health bar gets absolutely ravaged. And that's them taking that point back finally, 94%.
That was really, really nice staggers from Jokers. They lost the point there, but look at that, 94%. They only, it's very clear, they only really have to win one fight. And the win conditions are certainly not hiding. You've got Doggo with that Graviton Surge and Sweat. If Sweat can just get into that backline and put the Pulse Bomb on pretty much anybody there, because there's no defensive ultimate for Derf to really come out and turn the fight around in that sort of a way. So you've got to pray and hope that S-Dogger Man can rain those rockets from afar, but Gat's the first one to get a pick.
Yeah, well placed, taking out that hit scan. That's a big problem for them. Quick res, though, will get them back in. B's well placed for that. Loose Goose, though, wins out the shield fight here, getting the pick on. Double Reinhardt is a terrifying sight, and that's exactly what they get served as they just fight a good couple of picks here to find themselves back onto the subjective. Doggo drops the ult, but the shield walks on up and just means they get nothing. In fact, hurting themselves if anything. Gat picks up that Ash again, saying, stay down. I made sure of it last time. They take B's out before they can get the rest to convert this point back here at 95%.
Yeah, you can see the body blocks from Loose Goose here, not allowing anyone from Derf to even think about touching the point towards the end there. I think that was Derf had the biggest upward hill. I think that there's what's the tallest the steepest road? It's somewhere in Dunedin, isn't it? Anyway, they had that road to climb to win that one, just purely because of how many ultimates Loose Goose had. I mean, Doggo didn't really even have to use her ult there until really she just felt like throwing it out. The Gat's shatter combined with Loose Goose as well. The double shatter was just too much for Derf to even handle. And without any of the support ults, not even a Nano, and I don't think B's even had Valkyrie to try and even attempt to keep everybody alive. Especially going for that res on Dr. Force, I think was a little bit of a risky play because it left the Ana the only one that could heal, especially with so many people pushing onto point. Anyway, we're on to Sanctum. S-Doggerman again, the first to get a pick.
Ooh, quick on that rocket, taking our support as well. Crucial pickup to start swinging this fight in their favor. We see the Reinhardts brawling on the point early. They get in the thick of it, and Trap Queen is very, very successful in that aggressive push. They find another one. Wow, Thick Nick does get the trade-out kill on the Sombra, but it doesn't matter when the rest of the team is all left and they get picked up in the end. It means that they are able to just walk on this point. A good start here for Derf.
Yeah, it was a fantastic start for Derf. I think, again, S-Doggerman is able to get those picks that are needed, and you have... I don't know, it's a bit biased, but I'd say you have a little bit more room to play with, especially when you've got point as the Pharah, because you can, as the tanks, you can just hold them in. Never mind, Loose Goose just wants to get out of that choke.
Yeah, that not being as good as they probably wanted. They are able to find the pick out. The boop is the thing to take the kill as well. Oh my goodness, another one with another boop. Camel really making sure that they have good use of that. They're going to look to push this objective, so they've got the manpower. S-Dogger, the only one that can be a real threat, trying to displace something off the point, but they're smart enough not to go anywhere near that ledge. No! Sherlock gets the boot treatment, though. It's reverse played. Dogger drops in, hits ult, does get the kill, but shut down quickly by Sweat. They're not going to get out of that. Trap Anti just holding that shield up to save. Good res brings Dogger back into the fight, which lets them keep the pressure on, and that looks like it might be enough as well to make it happen. Sweat with the noon gets one, shuts down Dogger again as well. They are all over this. They just got to get rid of that Mercy. The anti-nade will do that job nicely with no healing allowed, and they've just pushed them back. What a trickle on, though.
It was good. Yeah, I think they capped it quite quickly as well for Jokers. Unfortunately, when S-Dogger was rezzed, nothing really came out of that res. I thought a lot of rockets were raining on, but Thick Nick was able to get some really big heals onto Sweat, who was able to take out the fire and then instantly high noon to remove another player. We're back into it though. S-Doggerman is taking off that off angle, which is much needed, but here's the massive Shatter Stranger.
Oh man, Goose makes it, but here's the trade up trap. Only just saved by the hack, but then... Well, the beats are in, the hack shuts it down. There's the winning swing. Both Reinhardts for the grab is the deciding factor. Sherlock stealing the show at the end there after all the cards have been shown. Camel not going to be allowed to escape that without a fight. 70% they get, but that's where the convert happens.
That is where the convert happens, but also a lot of ultimates did have to be used to try and flip the point. This might be a nice little kill onto Doggo here, who's overextended but able to get back into the safe arms of Loose Goose. They have quite a bit of ultimates, Jokers, coming to this next fight, whereas a little bit on the low end for Derf. So if you're on Derf, you want to play a little bit of the longer game. Hope that the Pharah can get those rockets in, and Dr. Forth in the backline, name of the podcast, just poking away, clearly trying to get EMP as fast as possible. I mean, you can see what a nuisance they're being. Derf is Jokers is coming around a different way.
Yeah, look, Trap's kind of already ready for it. They hit the grab, the pin comes in, but the anti lands. It isn't enough to save them. Nice little ult drop from the high ground as well. The clone of the Pharah does a little bit of damage, enough to put the pressure on. The rest of the team can find the pickups. Dogger getting harassed heavily. Finally, that hit scan really having effect on them. They pick up Bees as well on the way out. That's a good convert. This is going to be a really tight ending.
Yeah, they've got time. If you're Derf, don't panic too much. You've still got that 20 seconds, which is crucial to get those members that were picked a little bit later than usual. Whereas if they can get this flip, only 90 seconds remaining. So they've got the ults. S-Doggerman, his barrages have been good, but they've got to get great when it comes into this last fight. But here's the Shadow, which is even better.
Oh, the Shadow opens the door. Loose finds the picker with that. High noon from the back, but the hack stops it. Good stuff from Dogger to hit the damage, but they get taken out. Bees unfortunately has no one to save them. Sherlock will fall, and that means they have this point to themselves. Trap's just not even allowed to touch, and they will find this Joker's taking the first round.
Yeah, what spelled the end was clearly Loose Goose's shatter.
Mm,
As soon as that landed and it wasn't blocked, just spelled that was curtains. Curtains for Derf. They
curtains.
they definitely had the ultimates to win that, but unfortunately with that. Yeah, the depletion of not just like obviously players, but also cooldowns to keep the players alive was enough for then Jokers to take advantage of that and move in to the point.
Mm,
So yeah, that is Nepal, and I reckon, knowing Derf, we're going to go into Eichenwald next, but I could be proven wrong. But right
mm.
now, it's looking like a pretty even matchup. We're looking at all, pretty much
Yeah.
99% across the board here.
Yeah, that was nice and tight. Lots of fights being swung by just like a single player's key positioning or key ult use. So really, it's swinging backwards and forwards. We saw some good retakes, good ult use. S Dogger with that mercy pocket is definitely not to be taken lightly. A lot of pressure on Sweat with that McCree to try and take out both of them. That can be really difficult on your own, especially if that Farah's hunting you down, you know. And I'm sure that Dogger's not letting them just walk around freely. So again, Reinhardt fights going back and forth. The shadow being a crucial part of that as well.
I think another thing that didn't really help was Dr. Forth's EMP. It
Mm,
came. I could be wrong here, but it felt like Dr. Forth had it, or if they didn't have it, didn't quite farm it fast enough. I think only really two EMPs came out in that whole sanctum area,
mm,
and I mean, yes, of course, like I pointed out earlier, the shadow was terrible for the abilities and for losing manpower. But also, sorry, yes, but yeah, I think if we had EMP as the rest of the team, if Dr. Fourth EMP as the rest of the team were pushing forward on Derf, they wouldn't have to worry about the ultimates going down. They didn't have to,
mm.
they didn't have to worry about the shatters. So I think if you were to proactively use that ultimate coming into that last engagement, even if you own
Yeah.
yes, the EMP when it came out, I think it caught correct me if I'm wrong, like 5 members. It was
Mm,
quite big, yes, but it was obviously too late.
yeah.
Whereas I think if they used it reactively, possibly trying to just get the Reinhardt Zarya, even that's
Yeah.
enough because they didn't. Yes, they had a Lucio, but they didn't actually have beat, so it would have worked out for Derf there. But Joker's very well played there, pushed their advantage when they had it, and yeah, came out with the win on Nepal.
Yeah. Really solid showing from both sides. Looks like we are going to get Eichenwald like you thought. What do you think? Do you think they're really on this map? Like,
Yeah, okay. The reason I thought Eichenwald, a couple of reasons. One reason would be S Doggerman's Farah. You can play around the tower if you're on defense and get really nasty picks.
mm,
Because when you're on point, obviously you're super highly exposed as attackers because there's two routes, but both
yeah.
of those routes require you to go into the into the open. And when that happens, obviously you don't just have the Farah to deal with. You've also got, I would assume, possibly like a McCree as well to back it up. You'd want that damage along with your Reinhardt Zarya. Another reason Derf would have picked it is, again, S-Dogger on the attack, you can go all the way around. And as the rest of the team are pushing forward, you've got S-Dogger Man and Bees pushing from behind, raining the rockets in.
True.
And it will be absolute devastation for everybody, all parties involved.
Do you think that Jokers might even pick up a second hit scan if they are going to have trouble with that
Yeah.
around here?
Yeah, so if you were Jokers, you would 100% want to pick up. Sig would be hard because a Brawl v Brawl, Zarya is just better in this rank. You've got that Lucio speed boost. You just want to hit him hard and you want to hit him fast. Whereas Sigma, you might be able to get away with him on defense because you just poke a little bit more, perhaps. But yeah, generally you want that Zarya with your Reinhardt bubbling him, especially with the aggression that we will see. But certainly you'd want Sweat to stay on the McCree. They were absolutely popping off. Their shots were really, really. they flowed really nicely. They took their time to hit shots. I mean, whenever I try hit a Pharah with anything, my shots are so sporadic. It's basically like closing my eyes. Just you're there, right, somewhere over there. Also, Gat. You can't just Gat on Echo. Huge, really. Echo's just right now. If you can play her, it's just a better Pharah. Unfortunately, Pharah's in a really rough spot, and yeah, S-Doggerman has opted not to go for that Pharah for that reason. And yeah, S-Doggerman's still on the Hanzo to try to get the picks. Unfortunately, he was the first to get picked. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you just back off. You have to wait. Eichenwald, you need all 6 people. It's almost like first point is 2 CP. It's actually quite hard to take. Very defender happy.
Yeah, they do res him back into the fight there to try and bring the numbers back up, but they got to time this push well. Trap Queen goes in. They got to be backing them up here. There's that invulnerability field, and they do find the pickup. Dogger, he absolutely shoots through that shield into the Reinhardt to take that out. And look at the pressure straight onto the objective. They got that on. Trap gets hit with the stun, and that's going to be all they need to find the finishing touch. They get the second onto the healer as well, which is going to just absolutely put a damper onto this push. Doggerman just taken out by Sweat, who's found themselves a cute little angle to the side here, keeping the aggression going. They want to try and finish the Zarya off on the way out the door. They know only a few hits left, but Trap will come in just at the nick of time to save them.
That was very well played from, I mean, Thick Nick got Nano in one fight there, really, and was able to Nano Sweat, who was the most reliable, certainly going. He got 4 picks, I'm pretty sure, on that defense there. Trap Queen and No Hit Sherlock, they do have both tank ultimates coming into this next one. Kelly so interestingly already used. Unfortunately, that shatter just hitting the shield and not really getting much. S-Doggerman, though, there's that headshot on the Sweat.
Yeah.
Rest up.
Risky res, but they managed to get it off. There's the pin out of the grab. Is it enough to find the finishing touch? Dragons will take out Goose. Trap, unfortunately, traded out as well. High Noon, though, oh my goodness, does get the double. Absolutely rebalancing this fight, but having Trap Queen still up. The shatter comes down to try and take out Sweat, but it doesn't land. Doesn't matter, they've still got... Oh, they actually find the pickup on Trap in the end. Gat coming in to save it with the cloned Reinhardt. That confused me for a moment because of the clone.
Yeah, Gat, that's the second time Gat was able to reverse an already lost fight purely through the Echo ultimate. They did have to use a couple of ults there, but they're looking really strong Jokers at the moment. Both support ults are really close to be now to be able to meet anything the attackers can throw at them, especially with Doggo's grab here. Whereas Derf, they don't really have much, especially with Dr. Force switching to that Soldier 76.
Look, they've used up the field there. Out comes the Zarya ult, which ends up being enough, even with all the attempted healing and protection they could. It just couldn't be sustained. The supports are trying to make an escape here. Goose is just on the hunt. They will probably have to let them go here as they get a bit close to the spawn point.
Yeah, they will. I mean, like I said, Derf, they don't have any ultimates to their name. They still really don't, unless that Baptiste window can come in absolutely clutch and burn down the Reinhardt barrier, which I think you should use it for. You just got to burn that Rein shield as you're pushing in as a team, especially with like the instant kill of a fire strike through a window. Unfortunately, that window was used, and Joker just instantly did the right thing. They just retreated, and
Pause champ.
Nothing else can happen.
Yeah, nothing happening there at all. The window just blocks off the line of sight. Smart play to move back. And then Deadeye, same idea. They're not peeking into that. Trap Queen with the anti on them. They won't get it. Sweat finds the finishing touch. Doggo as well to clean up. S-Doggerman, the bigger woofer, wins the fight. And the healers are just not going to be strong enough to hold the objective. It is going to be a solid hold there. No ticks given.
If they had one more push, Derf, they would have had 4 ultimates going into that next fight there. It was unfortunate. They had 2 fights where no ultimates were gained on tanks and DPS. So and then this last fight where you'd hope that the back window could possibly boost the percentages. Nothing happened because Joker's just very smartly moved back. It was like, yeah, no, we have to deal with that. It possibly could have put it a little bit further up, especially to help Trap Queen. I mean, you do one fire strike through the window, and instantly that's curtains for
Yeah.
any 200 HP target. And yeah, now we've switched it up a little bit. We've got Derf on the defense now. They have got a bit of an uphill battle though. They didn't do too well on their attack, but perhaps they can turn around on the defense as they're pulling out the Bastion.
Oh no. Well, we did semi-predict this, didn't we? Earlier on. Oh man, they are going in with the May as well, which is like I think a pretty solid pick though. Maybe we'll get some cheeky bash and lifting going on.
Yeah, this is the perfect stall comp, really. You've got the double shield for obviously extra, not just protection but extra poke. They're the most pokiest of tanks, as we all know, with that double shield meta that's stuck around for way too long. We've also got the May to single out opponents, especially that looking for Loose Goose or Doggo. But interesting, it's Gat. I think this is the correct play here. Gat's on the Genji looking for that blade. I don't really know why the healers are Zen Lucio. Very low heals, especially for as much poke as they will get. There'll have to be a lot of breaks as they wait for the heals to come back up. Although Dr. Force falls.
Unless Scamel's a DPS, there's the jump into the backline, a bit of pressure onto it. Blocked that charge there on Loose. Well placed by Trap Queen, just positioning themselves in the right position. Gat picks up a healer there as well. Down falls the Bastion, and the stall is broken. Healers, tanks, they all fall down. And that is going to be all they need. Look at just trying to stall with the trace, but that will be not enough. A quick round to seal the deal.
Unfortunately, Gat played an exceptional game on that Genji.
Oh yeah, that was just the pick.
It was the pick that they needed, and not just that, it was the position of getting behind them and annoying the Bastion. You could see that S-Doggerman just could not hit the dang Bastion. And because of that, was able to, just be an absolute nuisance. Pick off, of course, Dr. Force, but also the healers themselves. And Gat, brilliant play, and of course the rest of the team pushing up with them and proving me wrong that the Lucio Zen actually worked out, possibly for the best, possibly for the best. I mean, I definitely understand you want that Zen. You definitely want the Zen, especially helping out Gat getting the faster kills. Lucio, though, I mean, you moved faster, yay. I think if the fight went on any longer than it did, you would have been caught out. But it worked out, so don't fix what wasn't broken before.
Yeah, I think the Lucio pick may be more of a luck thing than anything, but the aggression that you can get from that movement allowed them to get that first pick, and then we all know with that comp, once you start rolling them one by one, it just falls to pieces. It's really quite reliant on the whole team being together. Also, the Genji jumping up onto that high ground, like you say, getting rid of a healer, that's just where it all just got rough. Very, very, I don't know if I don't really know if I like bashing on a like when the payload's not moving yet. It's always like a bit touch and go. So bit of a rough pick there. I really hope Derf can find their way in this next round. Because this previous game was quite even. This one's been a little bit more one-sided there. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think we'll definitely go into Temple of Anubis after the reason being, hilariously, would be from last night, because S-Doggerman was around in the chat when we went to that 7-round game, and I think everyone's like, "Yep, Volsky Industries, we're gonna stay well clear of that." It's a cursed map indeed, and I think Temple of Anubis can work well for Derf here from what they've picked, I'd say. But Jokers, they're looking really strong wherever Derf seems to place them. Jokers are doing really well of molding and meshing around whatever's thrown at them so far, and I think it's really working. And Derf is definitely on the back foot here. Strangely, coming into this possible final map.
Do you think that S-Doggerman not being on the Pharaoh is one of the reasons that they've changed up? Like that poke from an alternate angle was quite effective on that first map, and now they kind of missed out on that second map there?
Yeah, I think maybe Estogaman got a bit spooked not playing Nefara, but there was no reason you couldn't really play Nefara. I mean, yes, Sweat has been really hard to deal with, but Sanctum's very open. So once Sweat got out into that open, he was Estogaman was just a flying spaghetti monster at that point, and it was just a matter of when can you pick the dog out of the sky, and unfortunately, it did come sailing down quite often. So perhaps that did make him think, oh, maybe another one. But on Eichenwald, you could have played a little bit around the tower. Anyway, what's done is done, and on the defense, we have jokers that are playing Sweat on the Widowmaker, which we had last round as well. Gat, Echo seems to be very comfortable in that Echo pick, as well as the Baptiste and Thick Nick together for a lot of healing. A lot of healing. Hana Bap is an incredible amount of heals.
Yeah, that's really going to be some solid sustain. All right, well, here we go. Both teams are going to be looking to find the early pick into these fights. We see Doctor going to go in for that angle, try and find the straggler perhaps, as the rest of the team push up through. Traps moving quickly though. Good, using that Lucio speed to their advantage. The shields are getting a little bit rough. Thick Nick is here, could get caught out, the Sombra, but they are going to find a couple picks onto them as they put the pressure on. The Reinhardt into the backline, the pins collide. They're not able to find the pick on each other just yet, but there's the numbers. If S-Dogger can get the finishing touches, but before they are able to, Trap falls there. Lucio gets ejected out of the battle. And down we go. S-Dogger, Doctor as well caught there, so that's them for a moment.
Yeah, the win condition for Derf here is a waiting game, really. Never mind. As I was about to go into it, Dr. put switch. I was about to say, they're waiting for basically the EMP, unless they can get a really crazy off-angle shatter or something like that. I mean, look, no hit Sherlock, only 20% toward grab. Loose Goose, though, 96% towards his shatter, looking to definitely use it this fight to completely shut down Derf. They are taking the high ground though, trying to just dodge as much as possible. Sights have been popped though, so they have to be really careful of pushing out. I wonder if they just wait out the sights here, Stranger.
Yeah, well, they've got the shields. They've got to be careful. Doctor could probably win out the DPS battle, I guess, if they hit the hit scan, but they do get pretty nicely head up. Got to be watching out for Gat on that off angle, though. That's scary. The Echo just floating around, especially at the ult charge that they're just kind of sitting at it now. There it is. Doctor does win that hit scan fight, but the shatter comes down from Luce as they hit the floor. He makes sure that they don't land on their feet. There's the aggression now. Good pressure, and the second Reinhardt comes for Trap. Hits both of them. Cat with the clone. It doesn't matter. They're on the floor. Down it goes. It doesn't get any value out of it. Doggo does get the pickup on Doctor, but Trap has done a lot there to displace the team. They just need a little bit extra help here to survive this last bit. The support's having to do their best to keep Ryan, who's the real damage source right now. There's just numbers. But the high noon from Dogger, man, out of nowhere at all, takes out two. This should be enough. No, it's not going to be. They lose Trap. Oh, no. They got to be careful here. They want to hold the point. Luce just picks up Bees, which means the healing is reduced. Sherlock just trying to take the fight with Goose. It's a cheeky 1v1 here. Goose knows they're about to be outnumbered. They got to worry about that. But it's quick in from Gat to come in and find the damage. They pick up two out of it. But is it enough with these spawns? Oh my goodness. Sherlock is just pumping that damage out. Doggo, a helpless cause here onto the objective. The Widowmaker really isn't going to have that output they need to shut down two tanks. They find one, but can they stall? Sweat actually does manage to stall for a moment, but the rest of the team is not confident in it. Whew, what a fight.
What a fight. That is 2C. That's when 2CP is quite fun. It's just that really long engagement there. I thought after all that, not even a tick would be gained, but Derf, they kept pushing at it despite only having, one or two people on the point for, for quite a long extended period of time there. Trap Queen at one point as well was versing two Reinhardts and somehow came out on top. So major respect right now to Derf, who managed to keep their cool, hang on, Now they're going for point B. They have got quite a number of ults. Trap Queen looking for a massive fatty shatty, but unfortunately Lucid is going to meet, and that is that that they have as well. The charge instantly shutting down anything that happens, especially with that anti-nade stranger, and that is a quick, clean fight from Loose Goose, who got what? I think a 4 or 5 man shatter.
Yeah, look, that just solo play. Beautiful, well timed. They were patient with the shield as well to just block out Queen. I mean, yeah, Derf had a rough time there. Look, on that note though, they didn't use too many ults to try and engage, so they've still got a little bit in the bag here as they reapproach. Trap's going to be looking to poke away. The team know that they don't really want to walk down mid, so off to the side. They got that hit scan. Maybe they can try and find the one pick to break through. Doctor is getting that high ground to try and find it. Here we go, onto the point. Trap rolls in, but the pin to start with is a rough way to begin the battle. They are treated too quickly. Gat makes sure that they get rid of Dogger as well. Very quick, very smooth. The 3-piece to make it happen. They are on point right now.
They are not just on point, but they have solidified themselves in concrete and silicon, because they have pretty much 6 ultimates as well. I mean, yes, Loose Goose is a little bit behind, but 70%. Reinhardt, you can get that in like, what, three swings and some chicken meat. I don't know why I said that, but let's keep going. On the other side, though, not so many tank ults, but they still bees can still meet anything that Jokers can throw at them, and that's really crucial. Anti-nade already used quite early in the fight, so they could possibly push forward. Unfortunately, he will be halted by an amazing fire strike, picking up S-Doggerman, who I don't even think expected it whatsoever. I just want to go back to that last fight there while they wait, Stranger, because I don't know if anyone could catch that, but Gat had a really cheeky position. You can see him now where he's kind of flying. He was underneath there. No one spotted him, and because of that, as soon as they sort of pushed past him, he was able to fly around, be an absolute nuisance, pushing that get a 3k, but S-Doggerman's back, instantly gets shut down again. Oh, no.
They made sure that they picked up the one. High noon from Sweat is gonna get the double. Beautifully positioned, making sure that every one of those really lands. And vulnerability lets Goose just charge on up to Sherlock, who's having a bad time trying to get away. They will not be allowed to. Wow, just so solid. They got answers to everything right now.
I'm sorry, S-Doggerman, but a new alpha dog is in town, and that alpha dog is Doggo right now with that 4k towards the end. So someone's a little chihuahua, the other one's a rock wheeler, and right now we're seeing the difference between the two in sizes. Doggo's got that Graviton Surge look, especially looking down to shut the last sort of fights, but that's not the only ults the Jokers have coming. They're looking incredibly strong here. Trap Queen trying to throw anything out here.
Gets down the shadow, but it doesn't matter because the stun lands in at the same moment. They haven't got the picks they need here. Sweat finds down Doctor, getting rid of them. Gat to keep the momentum going. This DPS right now are all over it. Solid play. Wow.
Yeah, very, very solid play there. S-Doggerman couldn't get any value towards the end with the Tracer, unfortunately. It couldn't really even get into the backline to get value. Just got, the unfortunate pick off, as we saw from Loose Goose, and then getting killed by Gat. It was really, really hard for him. And Dr. Fourth as well couldn't really do all that much, really. Trap Queen tried their best, same as No Sherlock, but unfortunately Loose Goose and Doggo, they just seem to have Derf wrapped around their thumbs, and the rest of their team as well are playing really well around them. And Sweat's actually hitting shots as well, which can be really scary when versus Widow.
Yeah, that's true. They're getting some great support as well. Thick Nick has been hitting those anti-nades. Even just earlier on, they had the side lane covered off with one anti-nade that just halted a whole push for an extra few seconds. That's like some valuable time that just gets, added onto the pile, which is really nice for them.
Yeah, I really like. I do approve of this comp coming out from Derf here. You want to hold first point, obviously, to win. That's your win condition. So having the double shield with the Torbjorn, Dr. Fourth will be probably with bees quite a lot, looking for that headshot damage, and especially with the pull that will come out from no-hit Sherlock. On the other side, pretty standard stuff. Gat immediately puts up a ward so that they can just rotate really fast to point here, and they're already pretty much on point.
They've got the turret on that objective, but there's a great pin from Lucid, which just takes away that shield. They have so much more like protective power now. Trap gets res back into the fight, which allows them to get back into it. Goose goes for the charge, not quite landing what they wanted, so they get caught out there. So it looks like we actually might have a fight still held here. No point, no, oh, one tick given, sorry, so that speed. Wow, Sweat just...
Sweat. They can
from
just
that
push
high
in
ground.
now. That pick was so big. That's just opened up the fight completely for the next push. You know, Mercy, yes, they can fly back, but that's crucially a big support. Okay, Sweat. Okay, cracked aim over here. Bristol was trying their best. That is a 1 HP Dr. Fourth as well. Yeah, the rest of the team can just push in now. That, what, a couple of picks from Sweat opens up the fights. They are turning it back around though, Stranger. A little bit, not too much though.
Oh, they need to be careful. They got to be careful. Sherlock really the only one who could hold that objective there. Doc doesn't really have the health to drop on and stall it. Doesn't even get allowed to do it anyway. And they're going to be quick onto this next point.
Yeah, you really want to be. Nice little sleep though until
Yeah.
Lucid, so we'll have to wait. That's a really crucial 6 seconds actually. Well played indeed. Yeah, they've got a couple of ults. I mean, no hit Sherlock. As soon as they place down Bongo, it's going to be quite hard for the rest of the team of Jokers to push in. So that's probably where you can just at least buy yourself a little bit of time, if not get a couple of cheeky kills. Gat has gone onto the Tracer though, already at 82%. Gonna try get that pick onto the Mercy, which will open up the fight immensely here. Derf though, the turrets are firing. Unfortunately, as soon as I said that gets shut down. Nano though, onto both Reinhardts.
Yeah, the anti-nade lands on Trap, which does absolutely put the advantage in Goose's hand. Here's the grab as well. The Fire Strike goes through, but doesn't find the pickup. Trap actually kind of getting unlucky there. Had the shield up, but it's still that Shatter snuck around some edges. Bob drops in now to just create some chaos as well, which they definitely needed. B's making sure that they still got the firepower, bringing Doc back in, but lovely Pulse Bomb takes out Estogger, man. Look, they're finding the picks, but it's very scattered, and that means they can't quite get on there. Close to winning it out, though. That was really tight.
Really tight. Derf had to throw a lot of ultimates, but Jokers had to throw a hell of a lot as well. We had Camel-tastic and the Nano come out, of course, with Thick Nick, but yeah, not even a tick. Very well played, Derf. Dr. Fourth has gone onto that May, which I think is a really smart idea to, you know, they seem to always be crossing over that bridge, or even if they do go to the right side of point B, they can just instantly wall up. Yeah, and then you get to poke away with that Torbjorn, which we saw from earlier from Cell, which can be super duper deadly. And Derf, they're already coming up with a couple of ults.
Oh, good May wall blocks off Goose, and that lets them get the pickup. They did commit as well, the Torbjorn ult. Maybe they expected a few more to be through there. Doggo gets left on the point alone as well, and the healers, you know, Thick Nick just couldn't quite get the angle. Sweat tries to make their way out, but does get caught out. They just well split there. Great Maywall to start that fight.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, they probably committed a couple too many ults. They had the Nano as well as, yeah, like you said, Estogger Man, Molten Core. Probably didn't really need it too much there, especially the Nano. The Nano was a little bit overkill, but you know, at the end of the day, winning is about sending a message, not technically the score. So yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I say anyway. Both take them up, yeah, I do like this rotation. They do have to be careful though of not getting caught out. Although Loose Goose, they'll probably be a little bit more wise to the ways of the Maywolf from Dr. Fourth this time around. And yeah, you see that both shields are quite low though. And here comes the Shatter. Doesn't really catch anything that Shatter does.
Oh, Trap makes sure that they win that Shatter out. Still goes down though. You're kidding me. The Maywall comes in to block the team in half, but they still aren't able to capitalize on it well. They bring Trap back in. High Noon goes up, but the wall blocks everything. Trap's just done all they could to hold it, but the Nano boosted Reinhardt in your backline will absolutely shut things down. They clean their way through in the end and find it again. Well done. 3-0 Jokers. Wow, we've had some...
Even though it was a 3-0, it wasn't like it was a roll.
It wasn't clear cut for sure.
close. Not clear cut. Derf did an exceptional job. I've got to give credit to Thick Nick. Arna, well done. You 5-man shadow came out. 5-man shadow came out from was it Loose Goose or
Yeah.
no, Trap Queen?
No,
Trap
no,
Queen.
yeah.
So sorry. Trap Queen got a 5-man shatter, and I thought, surely that's it. That was a huge ult. Thick Nick naded everybody, including Trap Queen, and because of that, was able to sweep up Trap Queen, and then keep the rest of their team alive through a
True.
brilliant heals, brilliant, and then it didn't finish there. Nanoed Lucy Goose, and because of that, won them the fight. So brilliant Arna plays. Supports don't get enough praise, but that you have my full respect there, Thick Nick. Good job keeping everybody alive.
Yep, no, I think I have to agree wholeheartedly on that as well. Some just absolutely perfect use of their abilities and making sure that everything was, very good economy use, basically. And nanos that went down, we saw obviously, a couple of overuse of ults on Derf's side. I feel like Joker's was more tight in that regard. They didn't really waste too many. Mostly just shatter play was where that was kind of happening, but other than that, pretty tight. So, and sweat as well, just like on that Widow, on the McCree with the high noons, oh man, that was just beautiful, really good, and obviously did well enough on that first point to get Dogger off that Pharah where they're comfortable, which was obviously very strong and probably did get in their head a little bit even.
Yeah, I think Dogger the comfort picks out the window, unfortunately, in the end of that Pharah, which, like we said earlier, Pharah's just not in a good place. Pharah, there's so many reasons Pharah is not good right now, and it's not just because hit scans. Just tanks in general are just really good, especially the Sigma. Sigma's just amazing for Pharah. But yeah, that is it. That's our first match. Stranger, we did it.
Wow, week 1. There we go.
Week 1 has been completed. As a little bit of a refresher, we had the Div 3 match of Dream Hunter Lucid versus United Esports' CT Boogaloos. Unrivaled Esports, I keep saying it wrong. Boogaloos. Boogaloos taking it 3-0, and then just before we had our Div 8 team of KE Derf versus 8's Jokers, who took out the win in a 3-0, but it was very close all the way through. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway, any last words, Stranger, before we...
Yeah, if you're watching this, you're not part of the team at all, make sure that you hop in the Discord and all that. We can try and get you in a team. You can join as a solo as well, and or with a group of friends, whatever, and we'll get you in on the next season onto that, because that's there's no mid-season joining rarely, or maybe we could sub you in. But and also, if you want to support us at all, you can hop onto our Patreon. There's 3 tiers: $1, $5, and $10, and on there you'll get your own little color on Discord, and obviously we'll be very happy that you support us.
Yeah, sorry. We wouldn't be anywhere as well without our amazing Tier 3 Patreon supporters. We have Galileo, Random Thing, Kerberos, Raiden, and Lamington. Thank you so much for supporting us and keeping all these matches coming at you guys. And yeah, this tournament's absolutely incredible. Get on it if you're not already. And we'll see you guys next week for another amazing match. Remember to stay hydrated and good luck. Have fun out there. And thank you, Abby, to our wonderful producer. Shout that man out. Incredible job. Catch you all later. Bye.
Thanks.